Hello and welcome to the Automation and Self-Service Podcast. I'm joined today by Ben Arts, co-founder of Mr. Turtle. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome meeting you at NAMA and now awesome being here.
Yeah, it's really exciting tech and sustainability efforts that you're doing. So I'm really excited to have this conversation again. And so just to kick us off, for anyone who's unfamiliar with your brand, could you explain like what Mr. Turtle is all about and how it came about?
Totally. Mr. Turtle is tackling the single-use plastic packaging problem. We do this by placing refill stations in laundry locations and retail stores. Pretty much what it boils down to is we try and provide cleaning products, things like hand soap, dish soap, laundry detergent, stuff like that, in a more sustainable, affordable, and accessible way. The way that I came up with this idea is probably what is going to go ahead and tell that story a little bit better. It was about 2 quarters before graduation over at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, so Central Coast, California, where I had a general chore day. So I had my jug of Tide, right, just like many other consumers across the United States.
Yeah.
And I'm there pouring over my detergent and, well, it's empty. So I throw it into my recycling bin, which I now found out as the founder of Mr. Turtle. You cannot recycle that. We did a whole bunch of research. A lot of counties across the United States actually will not take that. They might ship it somewhere else. So fingers crossed, hopefully somewhere it does get recycled. But it is a problem because we throw away 1 billion of them every single year. Nonetheless, pouring over this detergent, throw it away. And I'm like, it takes up my whole recycling bin. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe I can go refill. So I check out a refill store, which are becoming more and more prominent across the United States. And I'm hand pumping over my detergent to put it on a scale. I write down what I bought, how much of it I bought, bring it to checkout. And my checkout total was $48 for a gallon. And I was like, holy, that's
goodness.
right. It's a
Yeah.
lot of money. And I wondered, I was like, well, why does it cost so much? What does the process look like right now? And we did this whole research into the general process. I found out that if you buy a jug of detergent at the store right now, the cost of the plastic packaging itself can actually be up to 30% of the cost. So that means everyone is quite literally paying for plastic. So then taking that into account and the fact that I was refilling, I was like, how does it cost more if I'm bringing my own bottle? So again, kind of took a whole deep dive into this thing. And now we ended up finding out that if somebody brings a container from home, brings it over to a refill station, like a Mr. Turtle refill station, they should actually be saving money. So that's kind of been the general process behind the creation of Mr. Turtle.
That's incredible. So was this, you mentioned you were still at Cal Poly. Was this part of like a class or a project that you were doing?
Yes. Yeah. So this was actually my senior project. And I get this question very often. I did get an A, which is very nice. So I graduated with Mr. Turtle as my bachelor's degree. Cal Poly is very focused on their motto of learn by doing. So when I pitched this over to my professors, I was like, I think I have an idea for a business. I don't know if it works. I was like, but I'd love to just check it out. Could I do this for a couple of quarters? And they were like, yeah, that's totally fine. So they really helped me refine everything and just, kind of build up my business, or at least very much helped me to where it is today.
That's incredible. So did you know, like when you were doing the research project, did you know that you were going to actually launch this as a business, or was it kind of like a gradual process where you were getting good feedback and thinking, hey, this could be something?
No, it was definitely a gradual thing. I know that I was like, okay, I want to do more research into this. And I think it could maybe be a business because if I had a problem with refill, then there has to be someone else who's thought about it as well. And the research and kind of the validation, we built like this really small wooden prototype where we just put like a 5-gallon bucket in and then it just dispensed soap. And we were like, okay, let's see how it goes. And we kept getting feedback and kept iterating to a different machine. And eventually we had one in a store full time that people were using, right? Real customers, real money, real machine that people are using. And I was like, well, like we're making decent money off of this machine and we're saving real plastic. This could actually be a business.
That's
And
incredible.
now I've been in it for about a year and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, it's changed so much. So, could you talk about how? So we started at Cal Poly as your final research project, and then how has it changed since you like officially launched it as a business? I know when you and I spoke at NAMA, there were a few iterations of like the prototypes, and what kinds of like
Mhm.
challenges have you had?
I remember, so the first machine was, right, like the 5 gallon bucket with just like a little wood box around it, and that was kind of it. And then slowly came some more branding, right? Mr. Turtle, about saving the turtles and things along those lines. Then slowly, as time went on, we ended up putting multiple products in that wooden box. So the box got a little bit bigger. We put 4 different products in there, right? That's why we do hand soap and dish soap and stuff like that now. And then eventually, as we kept going, we talked to different locations. So we started off in grocery stores. That's where people were already refilling. That's the one that made sense. And then as we continued to talk to people, people really liked the fact that they could buy 2 loads of detergent from this machine right next to the washer. Okay, that's kind of
Oh,
where the laundry
interesting.
room
Yeah.
idea came from. And that's more of a convenience play at that point because,
Yeah.
oh, now I am not having to bring my detergent bottle to, let's say, the laundromat. I can
Yeah.
just buy it right next to the washing machine. And now this is where that convenience part of the business actually steps in. So now we are making, right, cleaning products more affordable, sustainable, and convenient. Um, However, with laundromats, some more issues arose, definitely. We ended up having our wooden machine that was handcrafted, and we were cutting things and hand painting everything. And now at a laundromat, we noticed that there was a little bit higher vandalism, which
Oh
is
no.
totally
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That just
They're usually
obviously kind of
unattended.
what happens in
Yeah.
some locations. Totally.
Yeah.
So what we now recently did, and as how you saw it at NEMA, we made a metal version of the machine. So now we are working with some manufacturers, some metal manufacturers. We're making the metal casing of the machine and we're putting in all of the parts. And now, boom, we have a metal machine for laundromats. So there's definitely an iterative process. I
Mhm.
want to say we're probably on version maybe 13 of this machine at this point,
Wow.
but very fast on the prototyping.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really fast. So within a year and a half, you've like identified changes that you can make 13 times and you're probably still kind of identifying those changes. I have a question. So there's not, at least where I'm at, and I'm sure some of our readers, there's not a huge like refill market. I don't know if we even have like a refill station for household goods here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about like what that kind of standard process was before you came up with Mr. Turtle. So maybe some of the like pain points that you identified, and then how Mr. Turtle is different or answering those.
Totally. Well, I experienced it firsthand, right? The 2 quarters before graduation. Um, it was, it's definitely a hassle.
Yeah.
It's a hassle and it's expensive. I'll try and at least paint the picture a little bit. Pretty much what you have to do is the first step is remembering your bottle from home, bringing it to the store, and then you're placing it on one of their scales. Then you have to go ahead and tear the scale, right? So you take the weight out of the bottle off of the scale. You bring it over to these jugs on walls. And they're 1 to 5 gallon jugs. So imagine picking a 5 gallon jug of detergent off the wall above your head. That's 50 pounds.
Oh
So
wow.
it kind of works for me, but the average person trying to refill, if you have to lift 50 pounds off of the shelf, place it down, and then you're hand pumping this stuff over into your container, it's a mess. And I remember going there because I was like, oh, I'm just going to refill my whole gallon. So I'm standing there pumping. It takes like 5 minutes. I put it back on the scale. I'm like, oh, okay, I bought this amount of detergent in weight. This is the product number. I brought it over to checkout. The person there at like the checkout counter already looked upset. They're like, ah, crap, it's like someone else just refilled. So they have to like click around a couple times and then they're like hand typing in like what was bought. And I was like, okay, sure. And I'm like asking them like, how often does someone refill? Yeah, like probably like close to 10 times a day. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
decent market size. So I'm kind of interested. I'm like, well, what do you think about the refill process? Yeah, it kind of sucks for me because I can scan everything and I can't scan this. I have to hand type it in. Oh, well, how big of a problem? So we were kind of having that conversation. But the whole process probably takes, I don't know, I don't want to be too rude to it because it's still an amazing process, but
Yeah.
it probably takes about 5 minutes. And then getting hit by like a $48 bill at the end for doing something good, it completely just blew me away.
Yeah. That's so I guess I'm spoiled because the only um prototype or kind of refill that I've seen is yours at NAMA. And so whenever you were talking to me about kind of how tricky it was to use the previous method, I really did not anticipate that you would have to be physically like handling these giant jugs. I thought that it would still be kind of like a pour from the like a tap type thing. So that's really interesting. So how did you choose or kind of work out those things to incorporate better practices with Mr. Turtle?
Totally. I will say there are more and more stores showing up across the United States. I think there's about 1,400 refill stores, and I think
Nice.
some of them have also noticed that, hey, there is a problem with how we were doing this in the past because refill stores started showing up in around 2008, 2009, and everyone was kind of doing the hand pump method. There are some automations behind it now, but I will say, Mr. Turtle, I feel like we have killed it just purely based off of the fact that we are basing everything off of customer research. So we place a machine, we stand next to the machine for a couple of hours each week, we learn what people think about it, and then we take the machine out or build a new one, and then we go ahead and implement those iterations. And then, okay, we go back into the store, place the machine, work out what people dislike about it, and then reiterate. And it was constantly this feedback cycle for about 6 months. Now, for the Mr. Turtle machine, it's super easy. Somebody brings a container from home, places it down, selects what kind of cleaning product they want, let's say laundry detergent. You just press and hold a button, and then it's going to go ahead and count up like a gas station almost. It's going to go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and count up how much you're buying, what it costs, and you're going to go ahead and hold this button and see how much you're buying so you don't get right all of a sudden surprised by a $48 bill.
Oh,
You're like, oh,
yeah.
okay, I'm buying $4 of soap and it will do 27 loads of laundry. Okay, boom, that's enough for me. I'm good with this. You go ahead and press finish. A little label gets printed out with a barcode. You slap it onto your bottle, bring it to checkout. The person at checkout this time actually has a smile on their face because all they have to do is beep, and that's it. So
That is so
definitely
interesting.
made it
Yeah.
a lot quicker.
Yeah, so whenever the liquid is dispensing, it's measuring itself based on the weight of the container in the machine?
It is, yes.
Okay.
So what we are doing is we're doing it based off of weight. So there's a 5 gallon container in this. Somebody, for example, buys half a gallon. We are just simply subtracting the half a gallon from
Okay.
it and then like relaying that through right some coding and everything back over to the price tag that you see on the
Incredible.
touchscreen then.
Incredible. So they're in retail spaces. So I'm trying to visualize folks are, filling up their container with whatever household liquid that they want, and then they take it to like just like the standard checkout of that retail space.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
And then we also have a unattended version of that. So all we do on the unattended version is we put a credit card reader before you dispense, and then that is that. So you just tap your card, and then everything still follows the exact same way. You just don't have to take it to checkout anymore. For example,
Interesting.
that's better for the laundry space locations, like an unattended laundromat.
Incredible. So I want to talk about the products themselves that are in the in Mr. Turtle. So I guess just kind of broadly, what kinds of products are in there, and then do you tailor them per location? And do you offer like options between like a certain laundry detergent, like a scented one and an unscented, for example?
Totally. We just placed a machine this last Saturday over in San Francisco, and that location, she wanted a green cleaning product. She wanted a kind of lesser cleaning product, one that was scented, and then a fabric softener. So that was just kind of the best fit for her laundromat. We are going to go ahead and test which items sell the best. Right now, a cleaning product that we truly champion and love is Wallowa Valley Cleaning Products. It's a company out of Oregon that has been the biggest help for us. They are people safe, environment safe, ocean friendly. It's hypoallergenic, high efficiency,
Oh,
just in general, kind of as neutral as you could possibly go, but also at the same time as good as you could possibly go. And they have been pretty much in every single machine when we tell somebody that we sell those cleaning products.
oh, nice.
People are absolutely loving it.
Incredible. So I didn't realize that it could be tailored to each different location and that the retailers can kind of decide what goes in it. Is that the
Totally.
case?
Yes. Yeah, realistically, if you reach out to us, and we had a company in New York that makes cleaning products themselves, they were wondering if they could sell their cleaning products through the machine. Obviously, from our perspective and business model wise, we can try and figure something out with that company, but we are happy to dispense, I don't know, kind of anything. The
Nice.
beauty about the machine is that we could dispense anything up to the viscosity of a syrup or like honey almost. So we can get
Wow.
a pretty thick viscosity out of the machine.
That's really interesting. So have you ever done any kind of like food type dispensing, like sauce or, is that like a thing that you want to do?
I think so.
Yeah.
We actually got reached out to by a different university, and they were using the little small like Heinz ketchup packets where you
Mm-hmm.
just squeeze out a tiny bit of ketchup. And they were like, "Hey, we're throwing away a lot of plastic with these packets. Could we buy a machine and put ketchup in there?" And that was perfectly in the realm of what my co-founder loves. He wants to dispense ketchup and I don't know any type of liquid technically through this machine. So it's something that we are interested in exploring. It definitely opens a new like realm as well, just based
Mm-hmm.
off of the fact that now the machine needs to be food safe, but
Yeah.
realistically, it's two or three small upgrades. But it should be very, very doable.
Nice, nice. Yeah, now I'm over here like in my nerd brain trying to figure out what the viscosity of ketchup would be because like trying to get it out of the bottle sometimes is tricky. Um, so kind of leading into the next question is just generally, I know we've spoken about maybe exploring some food options, but where do you see Mr. Turtle going and like what are your kind of goals for the company in terms of maybe like a 5-year plan?
Totally. I think dispensing ketchup could be very much a thing.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that cleaning products is the way to go. Right? Like I said at the beginning of this, where you're throwing away 1 billion jugs of laundry detergent. That doesn't include hand soap, dish soap, your all purpose cleaners, anything like that. And the amount of plastic that we throw away is just absolutely absurd. So being able to create refill and have it be a predominant thing would just be amazing. We can go ahead and place these machines in grocery stores and multiple across the city. So then, if somebody brings their container to the store, they can simply just refill. And I remember that when I started this business, people were so like in shock. They were like, "Wow, I'm so surprised this doesn't exist. How did you come up with this idea?" And I was like, well, I'm like, no, I'm like, we're just too young. We were born into the plastic age. The milkman was refill, if you technically think about it.
I, d- I didn't
Um,
even think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
and it's very much been alive. But for some reason, convenience has taken over everybody's life, but at the expense of the planet. And
Hmm.
now, potentially, what we can do over as time continues to go on is really focus on this sustainability thing and refill with the affordability and
Yeah.
convenience on the back end.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking, especially, so like obviously it's really, really good for the planet and it's more affordable, but there's also like the convenience factor. And I think in terms of like, I'm just thinking as like a mom, if I'm carrying everything and especially like laundry, you've got those giant jugs. And then also, if we're thinking about people with disabilities, it could really enhance some accessibility factors there too. So I really think that you all are doing important work. And I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with me about this today.
No, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah. And so that'll be it for this episode of the Automation and Self Service Podcast. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.